All right, cyber traders, welcome on back here this Thursday, April 22nd, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. Welcome on back here, of course, for our afternoon meeting. Let's get a quick sound check just to begin. Make sure everybody could hear me loud and clear. Had an issue putting up the SPY on my chart today. There we go. Finally, looks like it's fixed. Great to see everybody, though. Ken says he's depressed. I know he had a little electric issue in his house today, so hopefully that's taken care of. Ken, I know that you're not depressed because of the market. You killed it earlier today, alongside a lot of our students, including Michael, who did pretty nicely earlier on the Nikola stock, if I'm not mistaken. Gene also. Great to see Joe, Gary, Jeff, Kathleen from before, all of our students live inside Cyber Group. And for all of us on social media, Facebook Live and YouTube, welcome on back. So, there's a lot to digest here, a lot to dig into here. And thankfully, I don't have class, so I can kind of take my sweet time. So we ended up seeing the market take a big drop off. The news that came out, or speculative news. I know that Biden is going to announce a plan regarding spending, tax increases. Providing a plan for families and childcare. That's going to be officially announced next week. They're talking about raising the marginal income tax rate from 37% to 39.6%. So that's never good news for most of us, right? So ended up leading to a big drop off, at least, after 1 o'clock. We're not here to talk about our thoughts or opinions on the president, right? We're here to trade. So it led to a big drop off heading into the afternoon, a nice big bounce, at least going into 2 o'clock. Now, at least with that in mind, we'll talk about a lot of stocks that could be moving with the market heading into this afternoon. Stocks that are still at the lows of the day, like the airlines and cruise lines like AAL and the NCLH rounding back down. I know that another stock, one that we have directly from our side list here, it actually just made a small spike off the major support, but Canon, CAN, this was trending down beautifully heading into the meeting and just now bounced off the major support off of 13. So, hey, we'll probably come back to all of these trades going into the end of this meeting, just stocks that are typically on our side list here. I do want to start with Nikola, though, because Nikola was a stock that we had at least in mind in pre-market, and certainly after the market opened up. It dropped off, but then out of nowhere, this thing just popped and took off like a rocket. So there was some news that came out on Nikola. I'll copy and paste pretty quickly. I'll be honest, I thought it was going to lead to a bit of a drop after 9:30. I was not prepared to see a big pop right out the gate. That was just a thought, and I guess I was right with that. But the news that came out, and I thought the news wasn't that significant. That's why I thought that. But Nikola shares trading higher after the company announced it would collaborate with Travel Centers of America, very big company nationwide, but on the installation of hydrogen fueling stations at 2 existing TA Petro sites, and 2 existing petroleum sites. Like 2. It's not really a whole lot. I don't know. Not most knowledgeable person within that sector, but I don't know. I just thought that it wouldn't have made as big of a pop right out the gate at 9:30. And with that, hey, it slammed down. This actually was a really good short at first, dropped all the way down towards yesterday's closing bell print, exactly off the low of the day at $10.30. I mean, kissed it perfectly. Ended up making this huge slingshot a little bit after as it broke back above 1050, built this trend right up to the pre-market resistance off of 11, and the rest was history. Now, unfortunately, the wheels fell off on this trade. I thought it was going to begin to squeeze back up later on, and perhaps there's a chance that it still may. I mean, it is pushing back up quite nicely now from the 1150, but, normally going into the afternoon, my stance, and Fausto's, of course, I get it from him, but to see a stock trading near at the highs going into the close, going into this meeting, that's like pristine. That's the best opportunity. This has a ways to go to get back up to its high of the day off 1279. So will this continue to pop up higher and make another big breakout? I don't think so. It's possible. And with that, we're definitely going to put Nikola on our watch list here going into the afternoon. I'm hopeful to see this make the retest up to 12. It might take a couple of false breaks, but should this re-break 12 nicely, that could lead to the next run up. If it fails to break higher, there's only one other way the stock's going to go, much like from this morning. And again, I bring it up because Nikola is not hard to borrow. It was very well easy to borrow. In fact, I just remembered this right now, and I told a student I was doing a coaching session with that I remembered and bring it up because how could I forget? I ended up making one of the biggest rookie mistakes out there, folks. Actually, it wasn't the biggest rookie mistake, but it was a pretty big mistake. I ended up shorting Nikola here, not here, but I was watching this exact trend line, and I told you folks live inside Cyber Group that it seemed like a Head and Shoulders was building on Nikola. Basically to say that you have your left shoulder, your head, your right shoulder. I ended up taking a couple of losses sprinkled in on a half-size position. Like I would take like -6, -5. I was waiting for it. I was watching that line, and I ended up jumping in on a full-size position, which would be the most I would do for this trade because it was certainly looking strong aside from this trend line. Meaning, if you didn't have this trend line up, like how can you not expect this to break higher? I took the chance off 1274. That was my entry price short. Folks, when you look to set a stop order to protect you, set it up in case if it pops up higher, you get out. When you look to do that, make sure that you change your order type here to stop limit. Because if you keep it on limit and then set the price and press sell, you're going to get taken out of the trade. I ended up closing this trade erroneously at 1261. I took a 13-cent profit on this trade. Now, I'm blessed to have a profit to begin with, but look at where this stock ended up dropping down to. So just I wanted to point that out because it was such a silly mistake. Like I would never do that really at all. And I've actually done that twice today alone, and this was one of them. So nonetheless, I want to talk about the mistakes as much as I talk about the wins. There's Nikola, at least though, going into the market close. Michael L here in the chat board inside Cyber Group says, I've done that. I'm sure a lot of us have, right? But it goes to show that everyone could do that, myself included, and it sucks when that happens. You don't want to jump back in recklessly because, if you just try and jump in just without, reason, you might have a little slippage. So it just sucks to see this drop off without me. I'll tell you the second stock, Michael, that I did that with. This stock, BNGO, albeit it did drop back down, it's squeezing back up now. This stock was a lovely stock to trade in pre-market going into the open. More news came out from yesterday on this stock. Really quickly to go into this move, I guess. I was waiting for the pullback down to 650 as soon as the market opened up, and I was looking for the slingshot. Ended up popping right out the gate, so I missed the initial breakout. But then as it pulled back down, I tried jumping in long off to 650. I took a 4-cent loss. When it pushed back up and failed to break higher over its opening print, I went short. I got filled short at 657 right on this red bar. Definitely a good trade, at least at that point. Pulled back, ended up being a great short opportunity. I ended up leaving money on the table, which is fine. But to say that this could have been a short all throughout the day today. Ended up making a lower high up to the 650 and pulled back. Now, I made the same mistake on this as I made on the Nikola stock, but this was on the long side. I was actually looking at Wednesday's closing bell print price right at 592. I jumped in right here, right at 592, and I ended up trying to set up my stop limit order under me, and it took me out at a 3-cent profit because I failed to recognize that my order type was set to limit. It's such a dummy mistake. Now, nonetheless, I ended up missing out on a nice little profit because it squeezed up to a high of like basically 609. Would have been a good 17-cent profit, 16-cent profit, no? So, nonetheless, though, at least at this point, BNGO trading like 67 million shares total today. It's just pretty exhausted. So, this has been such a great side list stock. Keep in mind day to day. And I'd say the same with this OCGN trade here, too. OCGN, I thought was moving similar to BNGO up until this ended up making a huge pop going into the mid-morning here. They were making the same type of move, but man, once this took off, there was really no letting go on the gas pedal. Ended up pushing up nicely up towards 775-ish and pulled back. For right now, I love this stock exactly where it is because this was teasing a huge breakout over 750 all throughout the day today, all throughout the early afternoon. So for this trade right now, this OCGN, I love this stock right now. I'm hopeful to see this begin to pop really nicely off this 750. If it's not like now live in this moment, then hopefully in the next 5 or 10 minutes, maybe we could see this begin to make the push. All right, so, hey, from the morning, we had a couple of really nice trades today, and that's without saying, the skills trade, SKLZ, another big squeeze up on that, at least in pre-market, leading into the open. And much like Nikola at first, this provided a really good short opportunity. Ended up making a nice bounce just now, as you could see off the 16 level. Looks like RG, really quick YouTube saying this sound, now we're back on. We're back now. All right, good. Looks like there was a small audio mishap there. Nonetheless, skills here pushing back up, making a really volatile squeeze back up to 17. Volatile in a good way, because you don't want to watch the grass grow, right? I mean, we were saying bingo is too slow. I mean, this stock is very liquid. It's making a very sharp move up, steady trend. I would assume 17 to be, a really strong resistance as of now. I don't mind slipping this skills stock just on the afternoon list here for the close. And alongside that, the FSR. What's up with that? This ended up making a nice slingshot in its own right. Ended up kind of pulling back down towards 1325, a strong level back from yesterday. Same thing. Ended up breaking under and back over it and took off nicely. Now, for the afternoon, this one's not making as strong of a push up. I'm sure you can keep it on your side list for this afternoon. Certainly keep it on your side list for tomorrow, for next week. See what it's up to day to day. There might be better opportunities than this, though, so far going into the afternoon. So, if this ends up making a sudden pop when I kind of turn away from this, then let me know if you happen to see it. What we'll do is go from top to bottom right now, see if there's anything big moving otherwise taking us into the close here. All right, so AENZ reminds me of AEZS. My trader's dyslexia kicked in there this morning. This one not doing much of anything. This one, top percent gainer, not doing anything either. All right. CDAC, not a whole lot really happening on the order book. Nice little pop, I guess. TDC, I don't know what the news was on this in the after hours. I will copy and paste actually pretty quick. I'm pretty interested. Anytime you see a stock make as big of a pop like this, there's like, either pharma news that came out, like perhaps earnings. This could be an earnings play TDC. I haven't checked Benzinga at all for this one. It's pretty far out of price range. So with Bingo moving, OCGN, like even the others like Fisker and Skills, my focus was not on this trade today. So, this was earnings based. Teradata shares trading higher after the company announced earnings Q1 EPS, and they raised guidance, more importantly. So that's actually pretty important. That's what led to this big after hours pop. And going into the day today, I mean, unless if this thing had a really liquid order book like we do see at times, like on NEO and like AMD or Micron, those are more expensive stocks, but stocks that have really good liquidity, I'll be more interested in trading those. Unless if this had the order book of those stocks, I wouldn't have been interested in this. XM, same thing. This one's at the highs, you could say. It's getting pretty close. I'll come back to this perhaps at the end. See how big of a list we have here. Spread's pretty open, but it's at the highs, pushing back up. BTX, this one's pushing back up. Damn, for a $10, $11 stock, this thing is making a sharp move up right now. Again, though, I'd say the same thing. Spread's pretty big, order book pretty spread out and scarce in terms of the volume that's on there. But, it's hard to argue with this move up right now, right? So it's certainly more of a level 3, perhaps even a level 4 stock. But for right now, BTX will slip on our list here. So we'll make the cut. All right, so now at this point, some familiar names like CVM, at least. This one also from earlier today made a nice squeeze. Not really a pre-market play, but as soon as the market opened up, it popped up on our radar. Big spread though. TKAT, another big spread stock. I just want to show you what happens to a stock after the foot gets taken off the gas pedal, so to say. This TKAT ended up making a big pop, got halted at the end of our audio broadcast earlier this morning. Ended up just moving back up a bit more, but once the trend breaks, once the foot's taken off the gas pedal, it's a quick little tip for all of us on social media watching this meeting right now. The difference between a stock and a car, this is my dumb joke of the day, but the difference between a stock and a car is that when you take your foot off the gas pedal for a car, it just kind of like slowly coasts off. When you take your foot off the gas pedal for a stock, it automatically goes into reverse like 80 miles per hour the other way. And that's practically what happens here. Once this uptrend line broke, this dropped off a lot further or a lot sharper than it had popped up. So it's hard to get out of. Dealing with a stock with this big of a spread, it's just difficult to get out of. And if you're there at the right place just at the wrong time, that can be very costly. So, at this stage right now, it's certainly not worth watching. Nikola making a bit of a squeeze back up. Again, I'll kind of keep this on our list provided this makes a stronger push up to 12. And if it doesn't, and if it fails, then again, it still is shortable. So I do like that as well there. OCGN. Now I'm going to point something out to you. I don't know if you got to keep a detailed eye on my platform here. There's a bit of a difference between this and the last time I showed OCGN, and it's my order bar. I'm currently long on this trade right now. The second this just broke back above 750, I jumped in long. We'll see where it goes. Set a tight stop right below me just now, so we'll come back to it at the very end. And GALT for right now, this one's like pretty flat. This has become a good side list stock though, hasn't it? You know, day to day to day, but even from the last week and a half, it popped up on our radar. And, you know, just, hey, once you happen to see another big move like this, you know, it's something that you want to keep an eye on. Hey, why can't I make 20 cents on this stock for a $3 trade, right? So, you know, hey, going forward, this definitely has my attention. Seeing this, you know, next breakout here. And if it remains shortable, definitely. Because if it breaks down, then you could just try and, you know, trade it the other way. That OCGN's like falling flat now, though. It's like back at 751, right where I entered from. I might get stopped out here. We'll see. I'll let you know if it takes me out. I have my stop set at 747, 746. ONTX right now, not doing a whole lot. All right. Let's hop over. Well, not hop over. We'll kind of just see if there's anything else looking just as good here. But we'll hop over to the losers list pretty shortly. ACY, another kind of like pop and drop type of stock. Yeesh, this thing is like a nightmare. This might be a reverse stock split now at this point, right? I feel like this is a reverse stock split now at this point. This was not like a $10 stock. So just wanted to check it out because it's a familiar name. But at this point now, like, ugh. All right, let's hop over to the losers list here, see if there's anything looking just as good, if not better, compared to what we already have on our list so far. Sleep Number is this? SMBR, is that them? Yep, Sleep Number. I was watching this as an IPO when they first came out at the end of 2019, and just not really a whole lot happened, and then they took off. But yeah, pretty out of price range here. All right, we'll keep it pushing. For right now, the ALDX stock, this one looks pretty interesting. At the low of the day, shortable, already dropped off quite a bit. Seems like this like huge pennant is also building on the daily chart. Squeezing in sideways here, right? I got taken out, by the way, on the, whatchamacallit, the OCGN stock. Just stopped me out. I took a 5-cent loss there. Actually got out at 46. That's fine. If it gives me another opportunity to jump back in, I care more about taking this trade up 50 cents north than taking a dinky loss. Now, I would care if I held on if this drops 50 cents the other way. That OCGN, yeah, that's where I would definitely mind. You know what? This will take me right to Riot, RIOT. Obviously, we are familiar with Riot, familiar with Bitcoin, and I did not show Bitcoin yesterday, and I'll be honest, I got kind of lost in a tangent there, and I ended up kind of just moving off from my Bitcoin chart when I wanted to show it. So actually, while we're at it, with the market dropping off, we saw Riot naturally drop with the market. Mara, same thing. Canon, CAN, a stock that I kind of showed already to begin this meeting. This one could make our cut going into the afternoon. It's not down or up a whole lot, but moving up pretty nicely, and just a good stock that we have on our side list. Now with Bitcoin, let me just show you this here really fast. So to be very brief with Bitcoin, for anyone that's following me alongside cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, very briefly, I've been watching this for quite some time on a few charts, a 1-hour chart like this and a 6-hour chart otherwise. And I've been saying that this has been so strong because for every time it was breaking under the 500 EMA, it was moving right back up. And even here, where we most recently kind of left off as it was beginning to run back up before the end of last week. Well, then we ended up seeing Bitcoin tank. We had this big drop, a couple of little blurbs and news snippets out there. I am extremely bullish long term. I am as bullish today as I was last week, as I was last month, and so on and so forth. But that doesn't mean that we won't eat some pain for a little while. So, at this point now, after this big drop below the 500 EMA, it certainly leads me to think that there's a chance to see Bitcoin drop off more before it moves back up. So should that happen, then I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin drops back down to the 43 range, the 45 range, roughly around here. Now, I want to jump to my other chart, though, because this will tell a better story, because on a 6-hour graph, you could see that, well, really, Bitcoin has rarely kind of made these shakes down to even like the 200 EMA that I have here on the 6-hour graph. Last time it touched the orange line like this, a slingshot right back up. Well, here it broke below it, but at this stage, I don't think it will continue dropping down that much further. And should it, well, it would pretty much match up right to where I had, right around 45,000, 43,000 perhaps, this last dip. So this would ultimately be the home base, in my opinion, to see Bitcoin make the bounce. And that's even if it drops down that far. So again, we're going to keep a close eye on Bitcoin, day to day, week to week. But again, I didn't show it yesterday, so I felt kind of compelled to show it here today. Now, one of our members on YouTube, Doug, asking about the airlines, just saying, what's up with them? Yeah, well, we started off with the airlines, right? We were just loosely talking about American Airlines. It was at the lows of the day and still dropping. So we'll take a look at the sector right now. Jets, JETS, for any of our Jets fans out there, not the airlines. I'm talking about the football team there jokingly, but Jets dropping down. It's only down 0.86%. What the hell's going on here? American Airlines down 4%. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, my platform's freezing up on me, Doug. You got my platform freezing up on me here. Eesh. Might have to close my platform down here for right now, my other one that I have up. Doug, you froze me up here. So American Airlines, I will say, if I can try and just comment on that briefly, even though you don't see the 1-minute graph, it is dropping down towards a major support level at $20. That's a very good setup, Doug. I like this AAL stock. We'll definitely put this on our list. And if it freezes up your screen like it is mine here, then it might be best to move on to another stock. But perhaps double check to see how much stuff you have up on your platform or on your computer. I mean, for me, I have like Bookmap, I have my Bitcoin chart up, I have this screen sharing software. So I don't think it'll freeze up many of us like it did just me, but just want to be careful. All right, so AAL I do like. I mean, just check out UAL, I guess, the other airlines while we're at it. UAL breaking down now to make a new low. NEO dropped off pretty quickly at 1 o'clock as the markets dropped off. All right, that's pretty much all I got, folks. That's really it. I mean, again, AAL, good call. Don picked up 5 cents, or 5 cents twice. That makes 10 cents. He was in from 750 just now on that OCGN stock. I did not get back in after I got stopped out, so I might cut this meeting short right now to allow me some time to try and get in before this thing really begins to squeeze up. Looks like I may have missed the boat now. Damn. All right, so with that said, folks, let's just jump back to trading right now. Actually, before, really quick. Do this fast. BTX popping up to make a new high. That stock's already on our list. BTX here, new highs on BTX. That thing's already at 1150. AAL, new lows. That's a good call, Doug. I'll tell you, I think that we're pretty much set, folks. This thing's taking off like a rocket right now. Be careful. This may get halted coming up pretty shortly. All right, so for all of us on Facebook Live, for all of us on YouTube, once again, thank you so much for spending time with us here. If you're interested in joining Cyber Trading University, just make sure that you go right down to the link on the banner below just to get started. For all of us there right now, like Wayne and John and Jeff and Joe and Don, who once again, congrats Don on that OCGN trade. We're going to look to post the picks coming up pretty shortly. I'm going to jump onto a coaching call myself right now at 3 o'clock. I'll be back on the mic myself at 3:30, taking you into the market close. All right, folks, talk to you soon.